might be interesting for you. Maybe it's not interesting for you at all. If so, sorry, go watch a different week's episode. But I think it's interesting if you understand where I came from, if you understand that I spent a good portion of my early adult years 50 pounds heavier than I am today, 50. And I don't care. Let me just start right now. I do not care about weight. I hate when people put emphasis on losing weight or the amount that you weigh. I don't give a crap what you weigh. I think you are worthy and beautiful and enough as you are, and your weight has nothing to do with that. The only reason that I mention weight is because I want you to understand that I am 5'2". I'm 5 feet 2 inches tall. And right now I weigh 127 pounds. I weighed myself today. I weigh 127 pounds. And I am 5'2". 50 extra pounds on any frame is a lot. But on someone who is so short, on such a small frame, the effects that had on my body, the pain in my body, my back, my shoulders, my legs, it was so awful. And just so we're clear, it wasn't 50 pounds of muscle. It was 50 pounds of McDonald's. It was 50 pounds of Frappuccinos. It was 50 pounds of garbage, just awful. When I think back at how I ate 15 years ago, 20 years, I shrink inside because it was so, God protects, have you ever heard that saying, God protects fools and children? I was both. I'm so grateful for a body that processed all of the things that I ate back then because it was so terrible. And I think it's important to talk about the difference between what I felt like back then and what I felt like today. And I think it's also so important that you understand that it's been 15 years. It's been a decade. I know for a fact when I truly, really started to change my health was after the birth of my second son, and he's 11. He'll be 12 this September. So it's been that long to get to the place that I am. Back in the day, I had so little information about health. I understood it so little, and I really believed 20 years ago, so let's say I'm 17 years old, coming into my adulthood, I really truly believed that in order to be healthy or in order to lose weight, that you exercised. That's what I thought. I thought you exercised. I thought it was all about exercise. And frankly, I sucked at exercising. I had no idea what to do. And when you're also carrying a bunch of extra weight, it is so hard to get your body moving. And so it was just this vicious cycle that I didn't understand. And here's the truth. I don't care what anyone says. I'll battle to the death. If you are trying to get healthy, it happens in the kitchen. It happens with what you eat. It is, yes, moving your body every single day. That's a huge part of what I believe. That's what we teach here. Hopefully you're doing that with your 5 to Thrive. But truly, honestly, truly, it is about what you put in your mouth. And not just what you put in your mouth in a restrictive sense, but what you eat. We always say this thing eat to bless your body. Are you eating things that bless you? Are you eating the nutrients that you need? Are you getting the vitamins that you need? Are you getting those things from your food? So that's what I want to talk about today. I'm already realizing that I'm going to ramble in this one because it's a topic that makes me really excited. This doesn't end with me having anything to sell you. I don't have a diet to recommend. This is not that. What I'm going to tell you today, sorry if this is a bummer, but it might even be stuff that you've heard before. It's real food that you can buy at the grocery store. There's nothing special about this. It's the fundamentals of eating well. It's how I eat. If you want to hear, this is what the journey was. So, as she drinks her smoothie. So, the first biggest step for me in changing the way I eat started with chemicals. I wrote down for you the 5 major pillars of when I changed. But the first thing for me was chemicals. And that chemical, the biggest chemical I was putting into my body came in the form of aspartame in Diet Coke. I loved Diet Coke. I loved it. It was like my boyfriend. I looked forward to it all day long. I drank way too many in a day. P.S. I know this is some of you, and you don't want to hear me say this. The chemicals in diet soda are so awful for you. And I was having some health problems. I wrote about this in Girl Wash Your Face, but I was having some health problems, and I didn't know what was causing it. And so I wanted to start to eliminate anything that I was doing that was unhealthy. And the reality was I was doing a lot of things that were unhealthy, but I didn't know enough about food yet to understand. But I did know that having Diet Coke was not great for me, and so I decided that I would give it up. And what's important about this experience with the Diet Coke is that I had never in my life given up something and stuck with it. Really. Honestly, like, I don't know about you guys, but I have tried a bajillion diets in my life, and I always cheated. I always was doing great, and then 4 days would go by and I would have a hard moment, I'd have a hard day, and I'd decide, screw it, I'm just gonna eat the whole thing. And then I would be doing great, and I'd go to a birthday party and there would be cake, and I'd be like, well, it's a birthday and I want to have the cake, and then I'd have the cake and they'd be like, well, you already ate the cake, you may as well eat everything that's here. And I over and over again would try a diet, would do well, would have some reason that I fell off the wagon. And how my brain works is, oh, you fell off the wagon, you may as well just live here, go to town. It's sort of this idea of, you get a flat tire and you get out and you see your flat tire and you immediately slash the other 3 tires, right? Do you guys ever do that, where you're making the stupidest choice because you made one decision you wish you hadn't, instead of just going okay, I had cookies, I had cake, I had nachos, whatever, I'm gonna start again. I didn't do that. Every single time that happened, I went off the deep end. So I had never had a diet that I had stuck to without cheating. And when it came to the Diet Coke, I don't know what came over me, but I thought, man, what if just this once you don't quit? What if you fight and you say that no matter what, you're going to not have a Diet Coke? I challenged myself to not have Diet Coke for a month. And I thought, okay, how am I going to do that? And for me, I thought, I'm going to do that by replacing the Diet Coke with other things. And if right now you're like, oh man, this kind of sounds like 5 to Thrive. So if you're doing 5 to Thrive with me, then you know that one of the things I challenge you to do inside of our 90-day challenge is to give up one category of food you should not be eating for 30 days. And that comes from this Diet Coke thing with me, is that I challenge myself to do this. And if you have ever heard me say it, I'll say replace it with something else. If you have to give up tortilla chips, I don't care if you replace them with potato chips. All I'm asking is that you prove to yourself, truly committed for a month, that you can go without a category of food for an entire month without cheating. So this was me. I give up the Diet Coke. The first week's awful. By 10 days in, I don't even care anymore. And that's the funny thing. I think so often we think that our must-haves are essential, and really, they're just preferences. The things that are a part of your life are just the things you prefer. You don't have to have your Diet Coke. You don't have to have those cigarettes. You don't have to have dessert every single night. It's a preference. And if you're like, Rachel, I don't want to live in a world where I don't get to have dessert every night. Okay, great. But understand that it's a choice that you're making. It's not an absolute must necessity. It's a decision that you make every day. So the first step in my health journey was I gave up Diet Coke. It's why I suggest to people who ask me, they're like, where should I start? And I'm like, start with giving up something that you really struggle with, that you know you shouldn't be eating, and prove to yourself that you don't need it. Challenge yourself to find some other replacements. I mean, potato chips are not great, but challenge yourself. If you're struggling with chips and you want to give up all the chips, okay, challenge yourself to find other crunchy things that can replace that in your life. So Diet Coke was first for me, and it was the first time I really started to think about chemicals in my body. The second thing that I gave up, and please hear me right now, you guys. For me, nutrition it's like a wall that you're building. It's a foundation. So you start with one thing and you make it a habit. You get it ingrained in who you are. And from that foundation, I could build on the next thing. I didn't try and take on a bunch of stuff at one time. I chose one thing at a time and I built on top of it. And I didn't try something new until the foundation of no Diet Coke was who I am. Like it doesn't even occur to me soda isn't even on my, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, I just don't even see it. It doesn't occur to me. Every once in a while, I really crave root beer, which I'm like, yeah, have a root beer. Every once in a while, I'm like, oh, I would love like an ice cold bottle of root beer. But other than that, I don't even see soda, which is crazy because for most of my life, that was a part of every single meal. So you first have to make it something that feels normal to you, and then you can start to stack, right? So first started with Coke. Second thing was giving up Coke made me start to think about empty calories. Empty calories. So again, I'm using this as an example. I don't believe in calorie cutting. I have no idea how many calories are in my food. This is not what I'm about to talk about. And I know that the idea of calories can be triggering for people. So please just understand that I am referring to a unit of measure, right? Calories are how much energy is required to burn off the thing that you ate. Do you understand that that's what a calorie is? A calorie is it's a measure of how much energy would be required for you to burn off the thing that you ate. That's what a calorie is. So for me, I started to wonder about where in my life I was taking in empty calories. I was taking in calories that didn't actually make a difference to me one way or the other. So the other day, this weekend, I was on my period. And I wanted a cookie. I really wanted a chocolate chip cookie. And so I was like, Dave, will you go to the store? Will you give me chocolate chip cookies? And he's a good man, and he did. And I was so happy. I ate 2 of them. They were delicious. I lived my life. I don't think of those cookies as empty calories. I made a very intentional choice. I wanted a treat. I was thoughtful about what I wanted to eat. I ate those cookies with joy in my heart. Remember, I believe in my only rule about diet is eat foods that bless your body. Those cookies were a blessing to me. They were delicious. So I was very intentional about them. I enjoyed them. And then I was done. I didn't need to eat the rest of the package. I didn't need to come back later. I didn't believe I had blown my entire diet. I was very intentional. That's not an empty calorie. An empty calorie to me is when you're consuming something and you don't even know what's in that thing you're consuming. You don't even know how much energy would be required to burn that off. And if you lost that thing, it wouldn't really make a difference to you. I bring this up because the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is to consider giving up a category of food. The second thing that I would challenge you to do is to look at your life and ask, where are you taking in calories that you're not even noticing? So for me, that started with my morning coffee. Coffee is proof that God loves us. I love coffee more than almost anyone you've ever met. It's one of my favorite things in the whole world. And I used to get up every morning and I would have Coffee Mate coffee creamer. Sometimes it was flavored, sometimes it wasn't, but I would have Coffee Mate and I would have, I don't think I was having sugar back then. I was having Splenda. Right? You see this trail because chemicals and Splenda. So first the Diet Coke, I don't want to have chemicals anymore. Then I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't be putting Splenda in this coffee. If I just gave up this stuff over here, I probably should not be having it in my coffee here. So I decide that I'm going to stop putting Splenda in my coffee, which means I'm going to stop putting any kind of sweetener in my coffee. And I hope that you can see with everything I'm saying, it's all very gradual. It was one thing at a time. It's super hard for me, maybe you guys can do it, but it's super hard for me to just make a sweeping, everything's changed, everything's different. I just don't work that way. It's so much better for me if I kind of stair step in the direction that I want to go. Maybe it's from years of trying diets and having them fail and then having me think that I was a failure, but I find that it's much easier for me in nutrition to just sort of go slowly. So I get rid of the Splenda in my coffee. And that's a little bit hard, but not too much. That's when I started putting cinnamon in my coffee. I just wanted a little bit of flavor. And then I did that for a while. So I would have Coffee Mate, cinnamon, and then empty calories and things you don't need. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to give up coffee mate. And so then it was coffee and cinnamon, which is where I'm at today. But I just started looking at things like salad dressing. Could I make a change and put olive oil and pepper instead of ranch dressing? Now, guess what? There are times I really want ranch dressing and I still absolutely have it. But by looking for those empty calories and kind of slowly, one thing at a time, kind of pulling them out, that was how I was able to stick with the plan. And then it didn't feel like a diet. It was like a conscious choice I was making and something that I never went back in the other direction. So look for things that you could get, look for what you need to give up, and then look for empty calories that you can really easily pull out. Are you putting sugar into things? Are you putting cheese on stuff? Are you adding things that don't need to be there? And in some cases, I don't do any of this perfectly. Like there are lots of super healthy, clean eaters that wouldn't put a lot of sauce or different things on. Like I love mayonnaise. I love mayo. I really do. I still have it on my sandwiches. I still put it in my tuna. That would be a really easy empty calorie thing for me to get rid of, but I still want to love my life, so I just keep eating mayo. And sorry, vegans, I really like it. Anyway, okay, so the next thing, so I gave up a category of food. I looked for empty calories that I could get rid of, and then I started to add things. And this is bomb. This is like freaking A, man. If you can let go of this idea of like restricting yourself when it comes to food and focus instead on what you can add to your life that would bless you and be healthy, this is where it's at. So this stage of my nutrition journey was when I started drinking water, half your body weight in ounces of water every day. That's why I tell you guys, if you're going to start something, start by adding instead of restricting. This is when I started eating greens. The simplest thing in the world, you guys, just start asking yourself, how can I add a green vegetable to lunch and dinner every day? Like, how can I just, no matter what, like, don't even try and change anything else, but just ask yourself if you can add greens. It's so simple. Like, girl, eat the burger. Have the burger. If you're not ready to give that up, have the burger, but can you have it with salad? And you're like, well, I really like the fries. Great. Have the burger, have the fries, and add greens. When you can start to see the greens and the vegetables in your life, leafy, rich greens, broccoli, kale, romaine, lots of kind of salads, not iceberg lettuce, but like there's all sorts of great things that are going to be so good for your body, that have so many good things in them that your body needs, that when you can start to see them as something that you're doing to take care of yourself, I feel like it's easier to incorporate and start to switch your meals so that the bulk of my diet is greens. So, but it started by just adding little like pockets of greens on the side. So see what you can add. One quick thought on that. I'm only telling you guys what I have learned over time, but understand that these are things I've learned over time by reading a million books. And so the thing I can tell you for sure, and any nutritionist would tell you the exact same thing. Lots of people would have you believe that you can take a pill, that you can take a supplement, and it is like, oh, I'm going to get my vitamin C from here, or I'm going to get this thing from there. And supplements are great. I absolutely have supplement stacks for morning and afternoon, and they make me feel awesome. But you will always get more benefit from getting that nutrients in the food you're eating instead of eating whatever and then hoping that the supplement will make the difference for you. So it's always better to actually get it from plants, from veggies, from fruit, than it is to try and take a supplement. So just FYI. Wait, there was one more thing I wanted to say about this. Oh, this is what I was going to say. That if you do the research, some of the supplements that you may be taking or some of the extracts that you're trying to incorporate into yourself, there are some things that they found that you could take the supplement all day and it actually has no effect. The only way to truly get those antioxidants or that specific thing that you're trying to is in food. So do some research, but just start adding some good things to the food that you eat. So just in case you're wondering, what is mostly in my life is lots of salads, lots of green veggies. I do have fruit, but I try and stick to fruits that aren't super high in sugar. So lots of berries, green apples. I definitely have bananas. This is like level 12, right? So you don't even have to worry about that right now. Fruit's a beautiful thing. Have some fruit, but just know that over time I keep tweaking to sort of get to the place that I am, and paying attention to what makes me feel good. So add some good things. Add some things that grew in the ground and still have the how would you say this? Like the water, the living water of a fruit, of a vegetable that are still in them. So really quickly, okay, sorry, I don't mean to go so deep, but this is important, you guys. Dried fruit is not fruit for you. Dried fruit is not fruit for you. Dave Hollis loves dried fruit. You may as well have candy. Go ahead and look at how much sugar is inside of dried fruit. It's crazy. When I am talking about adding fruits and vegetables to your diet, I am talking about adding things that are still alive, not dehydrated, not dried out, not mixed into yogurt. I'm like, get an apple and eat the apple. Get the lettuce, wash the lettuce, make a salad. That's what I mean when I say fruits and veggies. So be really careful about what you're adding to your life and thinking, oh my gosh, this is so good for me. And the reality is, no, that's actually made in a way that it's not great for you. It's made in like prunes. Oh Lord. Like, be really mindful of how things are made so that we consume them thinking like, oh, this is so great. It's so sweet. Like there's a reason that it is. So, all right, I'm done being weird about fruits and veggies. Okay. The next thing, this is a great segue, is I learned about intuitive eating, meaning using your intuition about how certain foods make you feel. This could be one of the most powerful things to you guys. I know I sound like a hippie right now, but this is not a hippie thing. This is like a very common sense thing, is to pay attention to how foods make your body feel. I learned to do this years ago because, like, for a pretty superficial reason. I kept having breakouts. I kept breaking out on my chin, and I wanted to figure out what was going on. I'm like, why am I? I'm a grown up. Like, why? I wash my face. You know me, like wash my face morning and night. So I'm like, why am I breaking out? So my mom had told me that she was sensitive to dairy and that I might consider trying and seeing if dairy was something that affected me as well. And I did. I tried. I was like, I'm just going to see. I'm going to not have dairy for a week, and I'm going to see if my skin clears up. That fast, my skin was so clear. I didn't have breakouts. And not only that, my body felt better. Now, back at that point, I was having the amount of cheese I was eating, cheese and yogurt, string cheese. Like, I had so much cheese. Dairy was a huge part of my life. So by removing it, it was the first time I was removing it for skin, but it was the first time that I had felt my body without it, and I felt so much better. This makes me super sad because, oh my God, I love cheese. I love ranch. I love it. A cheese board, a good cheese board with like crackers and cheddar and like a smoked Gouda is my fave, but I now know what my body feels like without that food in it, and I still eat it. It was date night last night. We went and we got tacos, and I had queso. And you can't see because I'm wearing makeup, but it's an immediate thing for me now. If I put cow's milk back into my body, I will see a breakout almost immediately, and almost always in the same spots right here. So that was the first time that I understood. Then this was years ago, back before anybody was talking about inflammation, but it was like, oh, I feel better if I don't eat this, so I need to stop eating this thing. Now I've done a ton of reading about inflammation and if you're a nerd like me and you want to read about inflammation, there's a ton of great books on it. But I am mildly obsessed with food and how it affects the body. And here's the thing. It's not about how I look. I don't care how I look. All I care about is how I feel, more specifically, my energy level and my ability to focus. So in a given day, you guys, I'm the CEO of this company. I'm planning out, I'm like building the marketing plan. I'm going to then go tape a video where I'm teaching you guys about nutrition. I've got to do edits on my book. I've got to go be like the amount of things that my brain is required to do in a given day is insane. I'm asking my mind, my body to perform at a higher level. And if I'm going to ask myself to perform at a higher level, then I have to make sure that I'm feeding, like I'm fueling this engine, right? It's like an athlete. The greatest athletes in the world are bananas about what they consume because they want to make sure that everything's functioning the way that it should. So intuitive eating is very simple. Pay attention to how you feel. When you eat food and you're not supposed to feel bloated. You're not supposed to feel super gassy, but those are more common things. Pay attention to what happens to your skin. Pay attention to, I get a backache. I can feel the inflammation in my back so fast when I eat foods that I know I shouldn't be eating. And I still eat them. I still have the cookie. I still have the chips. I still had queso last night. I still enjoy my life, but I am very intentional about that choice. I know that I'm going to do that on date night and I'm going to suffer some ill effects because I really love this food. And then I can go back, right this, here I am the next day back on my smoothie. I don't feel like I fell off the bandwagon. I feel like I just made a choice for my life, but at least I can make it knowing what's up. How does your body feel when you eat gluten? If you have pasta, if you have bread, does that affect you? How does your body feel when you eat dairy? Some people can't eat nightshades, things like tomatoes or eggplant, like horrible effects. Like, please take a minute and pay attention. And there's lots of advice online for how to do this, but you can start by just going on a really simple, like take a week and eat really simply, and then add things back in, right? So maybe you're gonna have a week where you're gonna eat, really focus on like protein and greens and whatever, and then you try dairy, see how you feel. Lots of people can have dairy and are totally fine. So just be mindful of the food you eat and how it makes you feel. Guys, you are not supposed to be hurting. You're not supposed to be sick to your stomach. You're not supposed to be bloated. Like if you're on your period, maybe, but like it's not, if food is affecting your body that way, there's a reason. There's all sorts of things. It might not be a full-blown food allergy. You could have food sensitivities. And if you learn what you're sensitive to and you eliminate it from your diet, it will truly change your life. So intuitive eating, pay attention. The last thing that I would say that has really affected my nutrition is preparing to succeed. So if I don't have a plan, if I wait until I'm hungry to decide what to eat, I'm screwed. You have to know in advance what you are going to eat. So meal prep is a big part of my life. Prepping snacks, washing the salad, chopping it up, making tuna, making extra. Like if I'm going to grill steaks or if I'm going to grill chicken, I'll make extra so that I have great options for my lunch the next day. So being really mindful of planning ahead so that when I get hungry, I've got something there. The other thing is that I would say, I just said like when you get hungry, but if you really want to stay on plan, if you come up with a plan for yourself and you really want to stay on it, the key is to not let yourself get to a hungry place. I have, obviously my meals and then I snack in between. So I have a piece of fruit or some berries and some almonds. That's my go-to snack. I have it all the time. Sometimes I have almond butter, but I stick to that routine so that I'm keeping my blood sugar level. Sorry if I'm going too deep here, guys, but if you're going long periods of time without eating, your blood sugar is falling, and then that's why you get to this place where you're super hungry and you're freaking out and you're eating everything because you waited too long. You need something that's going to sustain you. So I usually do a smoothie for breakfast. I do a mid-morning snack of fruit and almonds. I have lunch, which is usually greens and protein. I do 2 afternoon snacks. So same thing, a piece of fruit and 12 almonds, both for both those snacks. And then for dinner is just protein and just veggies, unless it's like date night. That's my go-to. So I stick to that pretty regularly. I guess the only exception would be date night. It's Thursday night, and we do Saturday supper. It's a big deal in our family. I make a huge meal for the fam. So those are the two meals where I sort of break my pattern. And I feel great about that choice because it's only two meals out of multiple meals I'll eat during the week. I'm very intentional about that. I look forward to those meals. I plan out what I'm craving so I get to eat this great food, and then I don't feel like I blew anything because it was very thoughtful. And then I just hop right back on the next morning. So that has really helped me to have a routine. I can tell you too that I eat the same things over and over and over and over and over. I don't change it up that much because once I find what works for my body, I just kind of keep doing it. The only time I think that I probably really mix it up is if I'm traveling, if I'm on vacation. If I'm at a restaurant, I might try something that I'm not normally going to eat just because it feels like a more special occasion. But for the most part, that is how I eat. It was a 12-year process to get from there to here. I have been incredibly graceful with myself. I have made so many, I've had seasons where I've sort of stayed the same. I've had seasons where I've lost traction and kind of had to get back up to speed. Certainly when things are hard, when I get stressed, I still tend to fall back on those old habits that I used to have. I can still binge eat. I can still drink too much. I can still make choices that I'm not proud of. But I've been doing this for so long that it feels more normal to me to stay on the plan that I'm on than to not be there. So I hope I gave you some good ideas. I hope that was helpful. My best advice would be to just try one thing. Don't try and do everything that I said all at once. Just try one thing and incorporate it into your life that you know will be really helpful and you know that will make you feel really good. If you liked today's lesson, we're down to sort of the last half of this challenge. I would so appreciate it if you'd screenshot this and put it on social media. You know, we're doing this every week totally for free, and our only ask is that you spread the word. We get as many people involved as we can because this goes away. At the end of 90 days, all of this comes down off the internet. So if you enjoyed this class and maybe haven't watched some of the others, please take advantage of what's in your learning portal here so that you can make sure you're getting all the wisdom that you need. And I hope that was helpful, and I hope you guys are following our app on Instagram. So it's hashtag. It's at letsrise.health, and it's super fun, and it's this kind of information. So we're really excited about the app. It's going to be so much fun, and we are really hopeful that it's going to be very helpful to you. So thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing with your friends. And I just want you to remember that your body, in whatever form, in whatever function, in whatever ability, at whatever age, at whatever size, your body is a gift. Your body is a blessing, and you need to take care of this blessing, not so that it looks how other people think it should look, but so that you are able to live out your dreams and fulfill your hopes and reach for the life that you want because you have the energy to do what you want to do. All right, guys, I love you, and remember, I am rooting for you always.
Okay, Rachel Hollis coming in with the nutrition talk today. Kind of interesting. I wasn't really ready for that, but it's kind of good too because I think it reminds some of us how simple sometimes nutrition can be. It's kind of interesting that we, you know, are all here through Beachbody, so nutrition is like a natural topic that I would think that we would want to talk about. And so maybe it's definitely something that we should visit and really kind of delve into, because as she was explaining the little choices and things that she had changed, I was kind of like reflecting on my own like couple of years and like my own things that I've changed and the own things that I've just started to just eliminate. And it wasn't I remember when I remember when I was first eating, Derek was like a year and a half, a little under a year and a half probably. And I was like literally eating hot dogs and mac and cheese with him at lunch. Like I was just like, we'll just make a big old batch. That's what we're eating, you know? I was just eating what he ate. But I also remember I would sleep in, I would nap when he would nap, and I'd go to bed when he would go to bed. I mean, there were times where I felt like I was actually asleep more than I was awake most days. I was tired, I was exhausted, I was cranky, I was annoyed, I was just fussy because it was not, obviously, now that I know, then I was not fueling my body to function at all. You know, I mean, it was like basically just like survival mode. Like it was just enough to function at the lowest level possible. And so I bought 21 Day Fix. I got the containers, and I was just kind of like, all right, let's try this, you know? So I was on WIC at the time as well. So we had WIC with my son. And so I went and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to use this WIC approved food for, I was like looking at this stuff. I was like, well, I can get brown rice. Okay, cool. So I was like, I'll get brown rice. And I was like, oh, I can get milk. Okay, I'll get milk. Oh, I can get veggies. Okay, I'll get veggies. And it was interesting that actually a lot of stuff that WIC approved were things that were on my 21 Day Fix meal plan. So I had this like weird connection where I was like, okay, if WIC is like approving the foods that I'm choosing here, there's got to be something like kind of in this realm, right? So I started filling the containers. I did my first 21 Day Fix. I did it very simple. I didn't try to, I know some people are always like, well, how do I measure out my casserole? I'm like, well, you can't really, because, you know, it's a guessing game. And so for me, when I did first 21 Day Fix, I just separated everything. Like I just didn't make casseroles, right? I just made broccoli, chicken, and some rice. And I just measured it out, poured it on my plate, and I just ate it. And I just tried to be very, very simple in the beginning. And, but I remember just making small changes, just like what she said. I was just like, okay, so instead of white rice, I'm going to buy brown rice now, or I'm going to buy wild rice, or I'm going to buy couscous. You know, oh, okay, so instead of hot dogs, I'm going to buy turkey burgers. So now we eat turkey burgers, you know? And so instead of, and then I was like, oh, I kind of heard people using spaghetti squash instead of regular pasta. I had never tried that before, but I had seen a few people do it. So I was like, let's try it. Found out spaghetti squash tasted to us actually better than we actually really liked pasta. We enjoyed spaghetti squash, and the fact that I could count it as a vegetable, I was like, I'm in. I can get my pasta fix in its veggies. Like, you talked me into it, you know? And so I just started making these small switches. It wasn't all in the beginning. I would say that we didn't have spaghetti squash until I was probably a year into coaching, or I was a year into Beachbody, until I really started to try to like get into those kinds of things. But in the beginning, I just used my containers. I was like, all right, my green container can hold broccoli. So I put the broccoli in it and I put it on my plate and I just eat it. I was just very simple. I just simplified my food. And then once I got the hang of it, I started trying a few other things. And I love, it's interesting what she explained, how she eats right at the end. She goes, so in the morning I eat my shake, and then in the afternoon she has veggies and a little bit of protein, and then at night she has veggies and protein. You guys, that's to be mindset, just so you know. Like what she explained is to be mindset. I was like, oh, you eat to be mindset. Whether she knows it or not, that's what she's doing. Or whether it's purposeful or not, I'm not really sure in her world. Like if she just didn't want to say it, or maybe she just doesn't realize that that is the to be mindset. But to be mindset is very big. No carbs at dinner, because you don't need them. You don't need sustainable energy when you're going to bed in a few hours. So you remove your carbs from your dinner and you shove them into your breakfast. And fruit is also a carb. So a lot of us think of carbs as like bread, pasta, grains, but your fruit is just as much a carb as it is a piece of bread. Okay, so you could have your apples in the morning, apples, berries, fruit all morning. You can have fruit till noon. That's what a lot of, I was kind of telling that like last time. So fruit till noon, because that gives you that sustainable natural sugar and carbs. And then you have the rest of the day to burn them off. But the rest of the day, we do greens and protein to help us keep our energy level up so it doesn't dip. Okay. And so it was kind of interesting to just hear like her little process. And it was also, I don't know about for you guys, it was a little validating. I'm like, oh yeah, we do that. Like our girls are already on that. You know, I could imagine somebody who was doing the 90-day challenge that didn't come through us, just watching that was probably pretty eye-opening. For us, I was like, yep, check, 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 check. You know, I felt like we were already on that realm of nutrition. It was kind of good to know that we're already working in that area, you know. It was validating more than it was eye-opening for me, which I hope the same thing for you guys. I hope a lot of that stuff you already knew because of just doing Beachbody or being in Beachbody or being part of coaching or anything like that. And if you have been and you're like, man, that was really eye-opening, you've got to start delving into nutrition, right? Like it's time to really, really, really start delving into nutrition, because if you want to lose weight or change your body, you guys, it's nutrition. The workouts are like a portion of it, right? Like the workouts are good to like release those endorphins, build the muscle, but your body changing, that's going to come with nutrition. Okay. Like if you want to like slim here, bulk up here, move this here, that's all got to start with nutrition. It has to. I know it feels weird. It's like a disconnect. I think our society has like really made a disconnect between food and our bodies, and we just have to bring that connection back. Okay, so it's our job to remind ourselves and to bring that connection back, that what we put in our bodies is a direct correlation to what you're going to get out of it, right? Like that's bottom line. What you put in is what you're going to get out. So if you're putting crap in, you're going to get crap out. If you're putting greens and whole grains and yummy fruit and all of that good nutrition, like that's what you're going to get back out, is good energy. You're going to get good responses, a clear mind, a clear vision. It's all going to be correlated with that. Okay. And I know I always laugh because some people will be like, oh my God, I hate buying veggies because they go bad in the fridge so easily, right? Like that's like something that I hear a lot. I don't know if you guys have that issue or anything like that. You're like, hey, I buy veggies and they like, I put them in the drawer and that's where they die, you know? Okay, so think of that food in your stomach as well. Okay, just humor me for just a second while I kind of like dabble through this. So if that vegetable can like deteriorate that quick in a fridge, that's good, right? That's good, because imagine that in your body. Your body can break it down just as quickly, right? If you have something that can sit in your pantry for 2 months, imagine how that's going to sit in your body for 2 months. If you think of it like that, like it's oh, I'm gonna get my dog now. She's like making my feet go numb. Come here. And now I'm like a freaking hairy bag. I don't know what I was saying with that. Never mind. So imagine that. So imagine the lettuce in your fridge. Yes, it goes bad quickly, but that's also a direct correlation to how it goes through your body quickly. It comes in, it goes out, it's done, right? Like it's a cycle. But if you have something that can sit in your fridge for 2 months, or something that can sit in your pantry for 2 months, and you put that in your body, it's going to take twice as long to get that out of your body, right? Like, does that make sense? Like if something can sit in the pantry as a process, in a bag, in a box, and you can put it in a microwave and then eat it, it's not going to go through your body like lettuce would, because lettuce can be broke down and goes through just like that. So when we think of what we're putting in our body and what we're getting out of it, you have to look at it like that, of like, these fresh vegetables and fruits are going to come through my body so much quicker. They're going to purge out, they're going to be used, they're going to absorb, boom, and then they're out. But all this other stuff that's been processed, it's going to be absorbed, it's going to sit, it's going to sulk, it's going to ooze, it's going to, and then eventually maybe your body can force it out of its freaking tubes that it's supposed to, you know? And so you got to think of it like that. It's like, if it can break down easily in society or in your fridge, it can break down easily in your body as well. If it can sit for a long time, it may not necessarily be able to be processed in your body. And I'm not talking about like a can of beans, right? Like a can of beans is still technically like kind of on this side, but I'm talking about like a prepackaged toaster strudel, or I don't know, or prepackaged Pop-Tart, right? Like those things can sit in our shelves for how long? So imagine how that sits in your body as well, okay? And that's artificial sugar based off of natural sugar, okay? So fruit has sugar in it, okay? So don't ever think that like you're not getting sugar. You're still getting sugar from fruit. Fruit has a natural sugar in it, and it is the same, and our body processes it the same as processed sugar as well, okay? So don't think that sugar is going to really be any different, but what comes along with the fruit, the other nutrients, the other vitamins, the other minerals, is not coming along with the candy, okay? So our body processes sugar across the board, okay? Whether it's sugar from candy or sugar from fresh fruit, it's the same. But what comes along with it is where you guys need to focus on, okay? So what comes along with the vitamins and the fruits that are in your fruits are obviously not going to be in your candy, right? Like a Jolly Rancher is not going to have vitamin C in it, or vitamin D or vitamin E or whatever, but your fruit will. But you're also still going to get those natural sugars, and that will give you that natural boost of energy. So if you're ever feeling lethargic, eat some fruit, okay? Like that's the best thing. I eat an apple. It'll just give me a little boost of natural energy. It gives me a little spike of sugar, and it can help you kind of pull out of something. It can be refreshing, you know, kind of like that, that citrus, maybe some pineapple, some fresh pineapple or something like that can give you that citrus feeling too. Hello. So I don't think that she really talks about anything else nutrition wise though that I felt like I needed to reiterate. I felt like it was all pretty baseline nutrition stuff. But it's definitely important, you guys, and we all know that. I mean, through being healthy and wanting to do Beachbody and being on programs and stuff like that. Where's Bethany? Oh, she's right here.
Thank you, Bethany.
For the card. He actually, so Bethany had sent me a little card that just said like, thank you for doing the warrior hours and things, and I loved it. It was so freaking cute.
Yeah, and thank you for my present.
You're welcome. But he set it by my bedside, so it's actually sitting by my bed. He like set it like a little teepee like by my bed. So when I went to bed last night, I was like, oh, there's the card. I was wondering where it went actually, because it was on my desk, and it was like he set it by my bedside, so it's like he's up by my bedside. It's so cute.
Yeah, I made a good spot for it.
You found a good spot for it, yeah.
No.
By the way, if you guys don't know, Bethany would never say this. She makes beautiful homemade cards. So if you're looking for anything, she is the girl to go to.
Oh, I didn't know you.
Like
so you
for and anything. She made the cards. Makes.
will you get it? Will you go grab it?
So Bethany, come on. Put yourself out there, girl. They're good.
Yeah, that's my like side hustle, my like
Really?
let my mind go stress reliever thing. So
Oh my gosh, you guys, look at this card. Oh, it's like super cute.
Wait, look back.
Yes, because now I realize it says hand created, cards be created. Oh, we kind of got to watch out. It's getting a little, did you touch it too many times? Touch it with your hands? The little black is like smeared just a little bit. I'm sure.
Here at Andy's, we got this.
Oh, yeah. We got a big old red ruby. Now it's just show and tell time. Thank you so much for the card, Bethany. I absolutely loved it. It was so
Flush
cute.
away. That's my flush
you're
away.
welcome.
Flushed Away. Have you guys seen Flushed Away? It's a really, if you guys have kids, it's a super cute little movie.
And there's like Now it has a diamond.
Yeah, it's a ruby.
Ruby,
A
but
ruby. Or like Aladdin, the diamond in the rough.
the diamond is rough.
I know, Mom's here.
Mommy.
So I don't think we really had much more with nutrition wise. Oh, look, there's a little boy. You see him?
There was actually a couple of things that I wanted to just comment on that not specifically like nutrition focused, but just stuff she had said about habits, because I did that big trial group and I did a lot of research and studying about habits, and a lot of the stuff she said was really spot on with what I learned as far as you know, taking it slow, kind of, you know, she said you need to make sure, you know, you've got the foundation of one new habit before you build another one. And it's definitely my experience personally, because like her, I have been on like a 12-year already development, you know, learning journey. So that is my experience as well, is to start like, you know, really where you're comfortable and to kind of build from there. And that it's really more about habit choices. You know, she kept saying like, it's your choice, and it's really your habit. Like, it's crazy, 40% of our daily activities are habits, which is a huge chunk of our daily activities. So it's not just things like brushing our teeth, it's like a habit of having a salad with every meal. You know what I mean? So it's even little things like that that you wouldn't link as like a habit, but it is. So I think she just really, a lot of stuff she said was really spot on about, you know, building confidence by replacing, even if you're replacing tortilla chips with potato chips, doing that is just building your confidence to prove to yourself that you can stick to a goal, you know, and ideally you don't stick then with the potato chips, you would transition to a crunchy, healthy snack or whatever. But I just really I appreciated her talk today. It definitely wasn't expected, like you said, because she hadn't really talked about stuff like that, but I thought it was really good, the stuff that she shared, so.
I agree. I thought it was good to hear it from somebody who wasn't a health professional, if that makes sense. Like, it's just nice to know that, like, you don't have to be like a health coach or a health personal trainer or something like that to talk about health or to give tips on how you've been healthy.
I love you.
Oh, they all love you too, Bobby. I promise. Okay.
Mom, can we do I am cards
Oh, you know what? Let's do I am cards tomorrow
with the girl?
with the girls. We'll do it first thing tomorrow. I am cards. Okay. It's just that it's already 9:06.
906.
9:06. Yeah.
906. No.
Okay. Okay. Let me finish up and then we'll come hang out. Okay. But I thought it was cool to hear like some of that stuff just from somebody who's not a health professional. Somebody's not who's like, get out your containers and da-da-da. She was like, listen, start switching this for this. Start drinking a little more water. Start putting some veggies in your dinner. Like, it's not that hard. Stop complicating it. But also know it's a process. Like, it's gonna take time for you to start picking this over that. And I love it. I remember even like it was a transition for us when I started learning to be mindset to take my carbs out of dinner. It's still a process. It's still something I kind of have to like tweak my mind about. And I started replacing,
Mom, what?
you know, rice with a side salad. Yeah, I see.
Grandma.
Oh yeah, is that grandma? You just drew grandma?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
On the 7.
there you are, grandma. Right there, that little red picture. There you are.
On the 7.
I look skinny. I love it.
You haven't eaten your veggies, that's
I
why.
have been.
Okay. He's going to mail it to you. I guess he's going out to the mailbox. I can still see him from here, guys. Don't worry. Kind of. Okay, Nicole, I'm gonna pop over and read this real quick, and then we'll use this as our finish up. I used to be addicted to pop. Really tough at it. I wasn't very good. Yeah, dude, pop. So somebody who's done Lisa's on here. You see her. Her and I used to work at a dentist office, okay? So this is a funny story. There's this guy that used to come in all the time, and he had like literally the biggest, beautiful smile. Like he was just one of those guys that just like, he would just walk in, he had this huge, big smile, right? And he had to come and get his teeth cleaned every 3 months though. I remember this, and that's why he always came in all the time. He had to get his teeth cleaned every 3 months because of how bad he treated his teeth. Because he told us one time that he would get the 32 ounces from like 40 ounce, yes, the 40 ounce Mountain Dews, and he would have like 4 of them a day.
Guys, look.
Okay, so let's just do a little bit. I can't quite remember the math, so let's go ahead and just do that. So sugar in a 40 ounce Mountain Dew. Stop, please. I don't want to have to talk to you like that. Stop. Okay. So there's 145 grams of sugar in a 40 ounce Taco Bell. And he told us that he had 3 to 4 of them a day, right? Like, I mean, I remember, okay, so let's see how many cups this is. We're going to convert this. If my brain can work. Okay, so 145, I think that's what it was, times 4. So that's 580 grams. 580 grams of sugar is how many cups? So 2.5 cups. 2.5 cups of sugar every day in his body, just from the Mountain Dew he was drinking. Just from the Mountain Dew. Could you imagine taking 2 cups of sugar and just literally pouring it into your mouth?
So
Like-
double that, because a 40 ounce soda from Taco Bell has 1,100 per cup, per 40 ounce cups, 1,100.
That is insane. Like, can you imagine just like even taking like a spoonful of sugar, like literally a spoonful of sugar into your mouth, let alone like a cup of sugar into your mouth or several cups of sugar into your mouth? Derek.
But do you guys, okay, so the best part of that whole story, we did that math while he was getting his teeth cleaned. And when he came out, we told him, we were like, sir, do you realize what you're doing? And he was like, that's just how I get through the day. Like he doesn't really eat anything either. Like he would just drink these sodas and come and see us every 3 months.
I just like could only think that like he was probably, I don't know, mid 40s, maybe early 40s, I would say. And I'm just like, man, in 10 years, like your beautiful smile is gonna be gone. I was like, your teeth are gonna be so rotted. I know.
Hey, who has bounty balls? Kids or girls? And mom.
You're so funny, dude. Who has the girls and boys?
Yeah.
I think a lot of them have kids, Bub. Elisa has a girl and a boy. Alicia has a little girl. Elika's got 2 boys. Nicole has kids. Carly has 3 kids. Amanda has 2 kids. I think Corey has kids. And Christy's got 2 babies. And Marissa's got a son. Man, all of us. Wow.
Yeah, and me.
Bethany's on the way. You're next. She's like,
You have a stepson, so I have one.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. See, we all have like,
And
we
I'm
all
right
have kids.
here.
And you're right here. Yep.
Can I come see you?
Yeah.
Can I come hang out with you?
Hey, can Lisa come see us? Sure. Okay.
Okay. Fine.
Trying to get somebody to come down. I'm like, I told Lisa, so Lisa's an esthetician, and so she was supposed to be out of work until July still, because you can't really like touch people's faces. So we were gonna try and book her a flight here in June. I was like, come visit me. But now she has to go back to work, and so she can't. They're making him go back to work early. I was like,
But I might just let them know, look, you told me I wasn't working till July. I made plans.
I booked a flight to Florida. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Bring this shit on me.
Derek said he'll see see you tomorrow.
Time to say
Deal.
goodbye.
I'm just saying goodbye. Okay. We can do that. I guess Derek is the
What's your time?
the time. What are those
It's
numbers?
9:30.
9:13.
9:13.
Yeah.
And Mom, please say goodbye. I want to put your phone on charge.
You're gonna put my phone on the charger. Why do I think it's not gonna make it to the charger?
It's not going to
He's
gonna
helping,
die.
guys.
die.
Hey, stop. Go talk to your papa for a second. Oh, he's crazy. He wants my attention today. So I'm just going to have to give it to him, guys. We're just going to have to go for it. So nutrition was definitely fun. I'm so glad that you gave up Diet Pop, Nicole. That is such and that's like, honestly, that's where I start a lot of people. Like if they drink pop or something like that, I'm like, man, you gotta nix that. That's first. And then replace it with water or seltzer or some kind of like,
What about this?
you know,
Like
lemon
this?
water or something.
Oh, what about this? Can I have your phone, please? I want to be nice and please.
But see, Bubby, I'm using the internet. You just have to wait.
Okay, for your job you're meeting, and I'll ask.
Okay, you can ask when I'm done with my meeting.
Okay, say goodbye.
Like what is happening right now? I just like my face is just blank. I'm just like,
Just say goodbye.
hey, you're being very rude. So just so you know, when I get off here, you don't get my phone now.
Please say goodbye.
Yeah, you don't get to say please now.
Please,
All right, ladies. So nutrition unchecked. Let's talk about it a little more this week. Maybe we can go over like to be mindset. We can go over. I thought what I would do. I should have done this from the beginning, but whatever she talked about, I thought about keeping that the topic throughout the week.
How do I look?
Shh. I'm serious. You're gonna get in trouble as soon as I'm done here. Just so you know.
How do I look?
We'll just focus on nutrition for the whole week. We'll talk about like maybe some recipes or some like meal plan ideas or meal prepping ideas, or we'll talk about the difference between to be mindset and the portion control. We'll just like kind of delve into it a little bit more this week so we can kind of go off of what she's talking about. Maybe we can talk about shame and guilt and all of that stuff too when it comes to food, because I know that was my biggest thing. I think when it came to like, once I was healthy, or once I knew I was healthy, I would shame myself so much when I would go back, right? And I would indulge. I didn't ever do it before, actually. Like before, I would just eat the freaking cake and be like, yeah, I ate the cake. But now it actually, once I was healthy and I would backtrack or I would indulge or I would, you know, kind of treat myself, that's when I started to feel the guilt and shame, is actually once I was a health coach and I felt like I was being deceptive, you know, and so I had to relearn to not feel guilty about those now either. So that might be a good topic for us to talk about this week as well. Derek, no one's going to talk to you now. Everyone's mad at you.
Mama,
Face, mom faces all across the board.
hey, what about this?
All right. That's it'll make me happy. Ladies, so nutrition is the topic for the week. We will delve more into it tomorrow. I hope you guys have a fantastic Monday. We're on rest day from our 5K, which is fantastic, but I think I'm still going to get a 10 rounds in so I can close that program up this week. It'll be exciting. I'm excited. All right, ladies. I hope you have a fantastic Monday.
Have a fantastic day.
Bye. Oh, you're doing hearts. You're so sweet. Bye, guys.